Dr. Hooker's experiments.
Magician Chuck Caputo here. You folks probably recognize me from my videos and some of my magic props. But I am here to show you something that's very unique. I'm telling you about it first of all, then I'll demonstrate it. I've always been interested in the history of magic. And throughout the years, I was fortunate enough to know many of the notables in magic, such as Del Rey, Bob Klein, and several others as well. Now, this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal. We're going to film this in the segment where I'm telling you about things, then I'll make a demonstration. So please stand by. All right. In 1918, some publications say 1917. I can't get a definite year on this, but let's say 1918. There was a gentleman in Brooklyn Heights. He was a retired scientist. His hobby was magic. His name was Dr. Samuel Hooker. He invited all the notables in magic, the who's who of magic. We're talking Houdini, Harry Keller, Theo Bamberg, Adelaide Herman, and the list goes on. He had a stage built in his house, in his carriage house. I believe it held 20 people, if I'm not mistaken. But they were in for a surprise, a magic show like none other. Because when they were seated, Dr. Hooker had several little tables on stage. They weren't blocked, they were in full view. And he had a roulette, which is a fairly standard item for us magicians. And he would borrow a pack of cards, have it shuffled, pull a card out, have it selected, and they would be signed. He'd place it into the pack, shuffle it, place the pack into the roulette. He'd get a rather large bell jar, probably 2.5 feet tall, 3 feet tall, covered up. On his command, the card would slowly rise. Now that in itself is an amazing effect. But here's the part that caught my eye many years ago when I read one of the articles. It would float above the roulette as if to defy all reason. It would stay there. He'd snap his fingers, would go back down into the roulette. When it took the bell jar off, the cards would fly up into the air. Amazing. Other effects that he did was he had a card named, so it was basically any card called for. It would rise up and so forth. It was just amazing. The second item he built was a teddy bear head. He called the bear meticulous, and he would have it was basically just a head with almost like a Victorian ruffle around it, around its neck. So it was a disembodied head. He'd show the head, place it onto another little circular stand, cover it with another bell jar. The bear would blink its eyes. It would clack its jaw in answer to questions. The part that really stunned the audience is it would float. It would levitate in the bell jar and come back down. So it was just totally amazing. Okay, let me check my notes. I have some things written here. Let's get some light on the subject if I can. Oh, perfect. All right, Dr. Hooker. Let's see. He was born in 1864 in England. He moved to the United States. He passed away in 1935. And like I said, the performance was 1918, 1917, but he was working on this bizarre experiment since 1914. Let's get rid of the light. I don't think I need it. All right. A couple other things I have written here. Let's see here. Okay, a couple of observations. If you read any of the articles. Oh, let me show you what Samuel Hooker looked like. Here's a picture of him. He was a large man. I read he was about 6'4". So he was a rather large guy. Here we have a blow-up of Samuel Hooker. And there were several publications about the effects that I'm telling you about. Here is Paul Burr's review written by his friend John Mulholland. Very interesting. And I was fortunate enough to get this many years ago. And there was a couple publications. Here's Magic Magazine. And I'll tell you about this guy a little bit later on who ended up getting the actual original Hooker outfit. All right, and here's Genie Magazine. It came out as well. A beautiful write-up in there. Okay, but anyway, let me tell you a little bit more if I can. Oh, a few of the observations, which is what I was getting at, was that this was not a portable act. Okay, Dr. Hooker cannot take this on the road with him. So it actually had to be performed on his stage at his home in his theater. So that'll give you a little inclination of how this thing works, which I do believe I know how it works. So that's the main thing that always stuck in my head. I was thinking, it'd be cool to create a portable version. Let's see what else they have here. I was always interested in the classic magic. Okay, I'm a big fan of Robert Houdin, Hofzinser. Now, if you follow my channels, you know that I have recreated several of these effects. Throughout the years, I've actually recreated Robert Houdin's Antonio Diablo, which is the trapeze artist. So go and check that out. If you go on YouTube and search Antonio Diablo, Chuck Caputo, my friend Eddie Guevara has the sole rights to this video. He's House of the Unusual. But anyway, I had recreated the little trapeze artist. And by little, I mean, I got him down to 16 inches from head to toe. I think the original was 36 inches. So the one I built is really cool. And I even put my own twist to it. He vanishes at the end in a puff of smoke from the trapeze. I also recreated the pastry chef by Robert Houdin. This was sold to a magic collector. I still have the Antonio Diablo. I'm probably not going to sell that, but the pastry chef, where the little chef goes into the little French bakery, the doors open up. The spectator selects a pastry, and a light comes on, and he's rolling the dough out with a rolling pin. The light goes out. After a few seconds, he comes back out with a tray, and he's holding the selected pastry. So you can view that as well. I also replicated von Kumplen's automated chess player, but this is a tabletop version. I make things much smaller, okay, because nowadays you cannot bring these gigantic things around. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is I have recreated my version, my interpretation of the genius of Dr. Hooker. And this would be the floating cards and the disembodied teddy bear head. Now, all credit goes to Dr. Hooker. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. This man was a genius, plain and simple. But here's a little poster that I had made up. This is the Hooker Experiments by Chuck Caputo. All right. And as far as I know, there was never any other attempt to actually build this. I am so far the only one. And it is much smaller. Like I said, I do not use the gigantic bell jars. Mine can be set up in a person's living room with no special backdrops or anything, and it is much smaller. Here's the actual notes throughout the years. I had copied the notes. I've been working on this for several years. There's a tremendous amount of engineering and thought that went into this. Now, like I said, this is my interpretation, which you will shortly see. Some things cannot be done. Other things I was able to do. I did put a twist with the teddy bear head, which I think you'll be surprised. This is the actual teddy bear head that I use. This is multi-aids, I guess the fourth instead of the third. But this head is pretty cool. It can be shown all around, and you will see what it does a little bit later on. Hi, Sherry. This is the demonstration of the Dr. Hooker experiments. I have several items here. We have a dome. Here we have a houlette. And here we have a little base. All right, and I'd like to show you the star of the show right over here, which happens to be my little friend. I guess this is Metiliades the fourth, because Dr. Hooker used the third. And it's a bear head. You can show it all the way around. I like to show you the height of the actual bell jar, because it is rather deep. Now you can see, look at the distance. He could go all the way up, and we're going to place him onto the base of this right in front of your eyes. We'll put him dead center, okay? And I'm going to cover him up. So he's untouched by human hands. What I have here, Sherry, happens to be a pack of playing cards. Now I'm going to have a card selected. You're going to have a card selected. Okay. Now my favorite card in the whole world, I'm telling you right now, if you noticed in my videos, I always use the 5 of clubs for some reason. Oh, okay. We're going to get this out. Does any card particularly appeal to you?
Oh, I like the King of Hearts.
King of Hearts. Oh, okay, because I'm your king.
That's right.
And these cards can be borrowed.
Okay.
They can be shuffled.
Nice.
They are not gimmicked in any way.
All right.
Now I'm going to sign your card. Your hands are a little bit busy right now.
You're right.
And we'll just basically write Chuck haphazardly.
Okay.
All right. And so we have your card
Yes.
and we have my card.
Okay.
Now mine will not be signed. We're just going to more or less fan these cards. I'll place my card into the pack and I have no idea where it is or what it is. Actually, I know what it is, but I don't know where it is. Now, your card, we're going to get it and I'm going to bury it into the pack like so. Now, sometimes I get lucky. Is your card on top? Well, I don't see any writing, so I guess it's not. All right. Now, these cards are rather old, believe it or not. I tried to make it as authentic as possible. And these are rather old cards. Let me get this cloth here, and I'm going to basically just wipe these a little bit. Like I said, they are in pretty bad shape. I probably should have invested in another pack of cards. But what I'm going to do is we're going to more or less get these cards, and I'm going to place it into the houlette like so. You like that word? Okay. All right. All the way down inside. We're going to push them in like so. And let me give it one final push to make sure everything is in okay. Now the tricky part. We're going to cover up the houlette.
Oh, okay. Houlette.
Once again, so it is untouched by human hands.
Okay.
Let me stand over here.
All right.
Now, let's put a little music on, Sherry, to help the ambiance a little bit.
Sure.
All right. Now let's reaffirm what has happened. 2 cards were selected, correct?
That's right.
All right. Your card was signed.
Yes.
Mine was not. All right. And this hasn't been performed since 1918, except for when John Gaham performed this in 2007. So we'll see what happens. What I'd like you to do is to concentrate on the cards, if you would.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
It is slowly rising.
It is.
And it is signed, is that correct?
That's true. And it's smoking.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
But watch, because it will defy the laws of gravity. I'd like it to go back down if it's possible.
It is. Look at that.
All the way inside.
That's magic.
All right.
Wow.
Now, once again, let's recap what happened, Sherry. The card was signed. It rose above the pack. And it has descended into the pack itself. And it pretty much went above the houlette. Am I right?
That's true.
Okay. Yes, it did. It was actually floating. Now, what I'm going to do is approach the pack of cards, and I'm going to remove the houlette.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens, honey.
All right. What I'm going to do is remove it.
Okay.
Watch the playing card, Sherry. Watch.
Whoa.
Ho!
Oh,
As you can see,
word.
none of these are my cards, I don't believe so, are they?
No.
But your card is indeed here.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to leave that in here.
Okay.
And I'm going to stand aside again and watch the teddy bear. Watch. Because this is so amazing, Sherry. Now, my card was, I believe, the 5 of clubs. Is that correct?
Your favorite. Yes.
All right. We'll see what happens. Watch. Concentrate on my 5 of clubs, Sherry. Because the teddy bear will find it. Watch as he slowly starts to rise. Very good. All the way up. And I'd like you to come back down, please. Now let's recap what happened here, Sherry.
Okay.
Your card was selected.
Yes.
And your card defied the laws of gravity and floated above the houlette.
Yes.
My card was selected and it hasn't been found yet. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. What I'm going to do is approach the teddy bear and I'm going to remove the bell jar. Now, I'd like you to watch his mouth. Let's see what happens here. Watch. As you can see, a card is protruding from his mouth.
Yes.
And was this my card?
Yes, it was.
All right. So we're going to put meticulous up here, and he could be freely moved. Now, a lot of people are probably going to ask, how did you do this, Chuck? Was there an ethereal motive behind this? I don't know myself. But here's the table the meticulous was on. And what's cool about this is I can just rub and look at this.
Whoa.
The table floats. Simply amazing.
Nice.
So there you have an unusual production. It's a classic, actually. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Have a great day. This outfit is for sale. I usually do not sell too many things nowadays. Everything you see in the video is for sale. The tables, the stands, everything. Okay, it is not cheap. So serious collectors only, please. You know how to contact me. I'm not hard to find. Thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you have a great day and enjoy yourself.
In this part of the review, I'm going to review some classic ads, and I'm going to give a little bit of a history on the House of the Unusual as well. This is for those that have stayed this long watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this part because it's really fun and exciting, since I am going to show one or two classics. Okay, so here, which I've shown before, is the famous Honor House ad. Now, this ad ran in a lot of comics. I'll put it like this so you can see it better with the glare. And the classics are obviously the 7-foot Frankenstein. In fact, when I did the review on the 7-foot Frankenstein recently, it's got over 30,000 hits so far. I did a review on the Secret Book Safe. I also did a review on the 7-foot Ghost, which is now passing over 5,000 views. I'm still to do Throw Your Voice, the X-ray glasses, the Spy Scope. But I did say in the past video that I was going to do a review on all so-called different ads. Now here, oh, you guys might remember this. This is actually a lady that I have here, which is a photo, an actual signed photograph of Joanne. Can't see the last name here. Davis, I think it is. And she's the one that appeared in Hold That Ghost with Abbott and Costello. She was a famous actress of the time. But anyway, behind I have another original ad here. And let me see if I can just shoot it that way. See, you see how it has the X-ray glasses and the see behind glasses, which, you know, were not as popular. In fact, the see behind glasses showed up a lot in the 70s, but I don't know how well it did. The one that did very good was always Throw Your Voice, the X-ray glasses, and the silent dog whistle, which I'm going to review in a future video. Over here, this ad is actually from an inside a Johnson Smith catalog. Here, everybody knows the classic Ghost from Johnson Smith. Well, in this catalog here, they actually kind of made it look like kind of like the Melton Company Ghost, where he is sideways a little bit, and it makes me wonder if this is one actual picture Melton Company might have taken, because if you look at this photograph here, you'll see the resemblance. I'll put it here to the side so I can show you guys, because I believe I have the ad here. Here is another, of course, classic ad, which was for the Polaris nuclear submarine. Now, this ad appeared in one of those Popular Mechanic magazines from the, you know, late 60s, early 70s, that they were small and very thick. Here is one of my favorite ads, which sold the vampire blood from Imagineering, which today some bottles go over $300, which is really crazy. But, you know, they had the classic, the snowstorm tablets, which later, the snowstorm tablets, even though they sold very well, and it's probably the best item I've ever played with, they were actually poisonous, so they became illegal. I have quite a few of them because I do have a whole card filled with them, and some people have asked me, can they buy it? And I don't sell it because, like I said, they're actually poisoned. And here is another famous, we just finished reviewing the Joy Buzzer. Here's the Joy Buzzer, and here's one of my other favorite ads as a kid, the 25 Lessons in Hypnotism with the HypnoCoin. And as you guys know, you can actually get that in my company. Now, the hot seat here, this is an interesting item. I'm looking for my original, but originally it was a powder that it kind of, you know those hand warmers people get in winter? It was a reaction like that. This powder, the moment somebody sat on top of something, would become hot. So of course they wouldn't jump up like the cartoon here, but this is why advertising in the 1970s was such a great thing, because they always drew the cartoon where you didn't read the thing, you looked at the cartoon and you already assumed what it was, and that's how you spent your money. And then of course you read it, but that was the fun part. Here's the magic soap powder. Now the soap that I showed you guys a couple of minutes ago in the other review, the soap powder was another thing that I forgot to mention, that before they had the red soap, the black soap, and whatever, you would put this powder and it would react once a person wet the soap, and it would turn red or black. And so now here is the exploding fountain pen, which is another great item, and I also will do a review on that pretty soon. But like I said, guys, this is one of my favorite ads, and of course what started everything, the itching powder, which was the very first product SS Adams ever had. Now in this ad that I'm going to show you guys right here is the 7-foot monster, but apparently, and wait, before I even show that, let me go back here. You see how this Johnson Smith, this is the Melton Company ad for the Monster goes, and here's the famous bat, which I'm looking for mine so I can review it, but I'm going to show you guys what I said earlier. You see the resemblance between that guy and this? So here you have the Melton Company ad, and here you have Johnson Smith. So I can tell you right off the bat that this guy stole from this one here. Now, this one here shows an actual person. You see, it's an actual photograph, and here Johnson Smith, which then again, it could have been Johnson Smith, but I believe the catalog it might be from the early 70s, this catalog where this ad came from. And this here is, early 70s too. I believe, knowing that the Johnson Smith had the ghost before the Melton Company, that the Melton Company might have used the same photograph along there. But as you can see, there is a classic between the two there. They look the same. Again, guys, this is of course, the bat. And what I wanted to show you guys concerning, here is, concerning the 7-foot Frankenstein, 6-foot actually. In this ad, this is a very early Honor House ad. In fact, they called themselves Empire Merchandising Company. So this one is like late 60s, and here they have the Polaris sub. Now, it was not, this company was used in New York City, whatever, but it became Honor House. It's definitely the same ownership and everything from Honor House. Another thing I wanted to show you throughout the ages, this is the most popular ad with the 6-foot Frankenstein here. And in this 6-foot Frankenstein, there was another one. See, look at this, how they tried to sell the 7-foot plastic one. But what they did here is that if you notice, the image of the 6-foot is this, and this is the image of the 7-foot. But the way they did the arm here, it's kind of, I don't know what happened here. Whoever the artist was that did this, somehow, first of all, it would be 7 feet, not 6, but this was an ad that ran in a couple of magazines. Guessing definitely was some type of misdirection there somehow. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that some ads out there are really rare, and some books have this, but they're selling you the 6-foot Frankenstein. But in reality, this one, if you notice the difference in the face and everything, this is the green 7-foot one, and this is the 6-foot color version. But of course, as the late 60s came in and 70s, and Honor House still ran these ads, when you would send for this particular Frankenstein, you still got the 7-foot green one, which they replaced with this. Now here, this is an older ad. This is, when it says monster size monsters, they're not selling Boney the skeleton here. They're selling you a 5-foot tall jointed skeleton. I believe the company that made it was Beasley, but that's basically, a jointed skeleton that glows in the dark. And, I have quite a few of those. I got like 5 or 6 of those original that I used to sell. But this skeleton right here is not the 7-foot Boney, even though, again, they kept the original image from the Perfect Man, which was the model kit sold in the 1950s and 60s through the famous Captain Company in Famous Monsters of Filmland. Here is the one of the rare ads for the 6-foot missile firing tank that I reviewed in the last episode that I did a week ago, so I think, of the Polaris nuclear submarine. As we go further, guys, I have a couple more ads here. Here is an earlier version of the Honor House. And as you can see, they had here a grenade, exploding grenade. Again, the silent dog whistle, and a couple of very interesting products. So over here, we go to a more modern one. Here we have, again, Boney. If you see Boney, they're still using the same image as over here, but the only difference is that the product is different. Boney here is actually a poster. Over there is a jointed skeleton. You could see that they still use the same image. And this one here, even though it says color, it's the green Frankenstein. It resembles nothing to what's there. Again, and of course, the ghost is there as well. And here it is, my favorite ad, which was the ghost that I always even memorized it. It says, scare the daylights out of your victim as this terrifying light ghost hovers and darts over them, etc., etc. I kept this. In fact, this ad right here was the first ad I ever memorized growing up because it was my favorite. Now, I want to show you guys one of the original John's Honor House catalogs that they would send. Now, I happened to come across this. I have a couple of them, but this is, I want to show you guys what it looked like and see how many of you guys actually remember this, because this is a rarity and it's definitely one of my most treasured items. This catalog, the way it was, and if you guys remember, when you would order in the 70s an Honor House product, not every single envelope would have one, but if you were lucky enough to get the catalog, look what it looks like. See, it has all, now I'm going to show you in pieces like this because it's very large. And as you could see, here's the creature from the Black Lagoon poster. You can actually get that on my eBay. I actually have that poster. It's 6 feet tall. It's a very, very famous poster. It's been around for a very long time. And here, what makes this catalog really special to me is the fact that in this catalog, they have the 7-foot ghost. So this is the one I received when I was a kid. There's the secret book safe, the original spud gun or potato gun. If you see, the design was different because in the early 70s, or late 60s, early 70s, they actually sold a different potato gun before the design changed. And this was originally not invented, but it was found by Joseph Cosman, who is the nephew of the Uncle Milton Company. Of course, Uncle Milton is the company that makes the ant farm and all that stuff. Well, Joseph Cosman was his nephew, and Uncle Milton is the company that basically they used to sell all that stuff. Here you got the famous secret spy scope, the Raquel Welch pillow, which if you look at the book Mail Order Mysteries by Kirk Damaris, it took me an entire day looking for that pillow, my original, until finally Kirk was kind of like, oh man, don't tell me I can't put it on the book. I finally found it and he was able to display. Here you have Boney the skeleton, and you have the 7-foot Frankenstein up here. And here is when I said strongman stunts from earlier. Here is strongman stunts. Here you see the book I showed earlier. And especially for Todd, my buddy Todd, here are the glow-in-the-dark creatures. These are, I believe that this is just glow-in-the-dark creatures, but they look very similar to the hair-growing monsters. I thought I had found a new ad for my buddy Todd. So here is Throw Your Voice. So this catalog is really super great. And I take very, very, very good care of it because this one is actually the only one I still have. I have 4 of these, but the one that has the ghost is the one that means the most to me because this is actually the one I received as a kid. So I have this one in my house here. And like I said, this is an earlier Honor House catalog that you would get. And again, not every single order that you order from Honor House would include a catalog. But when it did in the 70s, it was not in book form. It was this folding. And according to what Mr. Wagman told me when I met up with him many, many years ago, he said, that this made them a fortune as compared to the old catalogs that were costly. Now, guys, I'm going to now show you, in essence, what made the Fun Factory, or what made House of the Unusual emerge as what I do today. And okay, back in the early 70s, early 80s actually, when I got married, I wanted to start a mail order company. So I started selling books in the earlier days and stuff. And as I sold books, well, I still wanted to do my love, which was the original love I had was for novelty. So the very first catalog I ever produced, the first time I ever actually got into the novelties, I started selling in Popular Science and Popular Mechanics an ad which I ran under classified, and it would say free flying saucer plans catalog $2. Now I would sell the catalog for $2 and then offer the free plan. So what I would send was actually this, and it was called Top Secret UFO Blueprint. Now this was published, it says here, November of 1997, volume 1, November 1. Now I had, and I was selling most of the novelties earlier, but this is one of the first books that kind of launched me in the time. Now, what it really is a U.S. patent, and then here is the 6-foot monster that you could buy that I would sell, and I had in the back page my very first ad I ever did. Now this ad is from 1993, if you guys see there. By this time, Fun Factory had already, I had started it with Lou Wise, and I had slowly transferred the name over to House of the Unusual. But prior to that, I actually called it Nastex Industries. And then it settled on House of the Unusual as I had me having my magic shop. And the shop was House of Unusual. And then when I met Lou and stuff, and we couldn't keep using the name Fun Factory, I decided on House of the Unusual. And then this was my very, very first catalog I produced in House of the Unusual. And what I did with this catalog is I tried to make it so that it resembled the Honor House catalog, but instead of making it, 24 by 22, I made it 11 by 17. Now, if you guys see, I've always been in love with the 7-foot Ghost. And in this, because this, I obviously they're old copies, and back then it was hard to get a good copy done anywhere, really. And when you got it in large quantities, this is what you got from the printer. So that little kid that you see there is my 37-year-old daughter. She was about 2 years old when I started developing this. And so you guys understand basically what how it transpired. This catalog I put together by myself, and I was doing House of the Unusual when I joined forces with Lou Wise. And here is, see, the original Small Clouds, the 20 Hypnotic Control, the Silent Dog Whistle. Now this catalog, when I put this together, this was done with the old-fashioned paste up, where you had to paste one thing and then, at a time. And it was crazy. It took me weeks to finish. When I joined with Lou Wise, even though I had House of the Unusual, or as I said, remember when I told you guys House of Unusual? Before it became House of the Unusual, this you could see it's the old name. This is from the magic shop I had. Now, at the same time I had the magic shop is when I joined forces with Lou Wise to do the mail order thing, and we started the Fun Factory. So that you guys understand the timeline here. I started in 1985 selling books and stuff, and then in 1990, 91, 92, I came up with I had a magic shop in 89, and it lasted to about 91, 92, and I had it for approximately 2.5, 3 years. And then I developed this catalog for that magic shop as I was still selling things like this book here, plans and stuff in the mail. So then I got a hold of Lou Wise, and then we said, hey, let's get together, let's do this. And Lou says, let's do the Fun House of Fun Factory, which was a company that he had ran in the late 60s, and it lasted for like 10 years. The company made well over $250,000 a year at the time. Again, here is another ad, and here is where I developed a more modern House of the Unusual. So this was a better ad from the original. Again, the ghost, the light. You could see the time difference that I was selling the posters here for $29. Now they sell for $149. Look at the difference. And whatever. But anyway, this I developed after I left Lou and I stayed on my own. So this, I'm going a little bit ahead of here, but I stayed with House of the Unusual. But when I joined forces with Lou for the original Fun Factory, here is the original Fun Factory catalog that Lou and his professional people put together for me. Of course, I had done most. They took a lot of my original catalog and just, added stuff. Now, over here, exclusive fun products by mail. This is, if you notice, this guy here, the scare, is actually a rubber stamp that they were selling at the time, and I used it because I liked the face. And then this is a famous magician you guys know from different, magic books and catalogs and stuff. And over here, very, very hard to see, you have my little daughter next to the 7-foot ghost there. And this is for the famous image from the electric shocking book. And of course, like the Vic Lawson catalog and everything always said, be the life of the party. And right here, if you guys have an old comic book from 1993, you'll see my ad there as well. Now, again, I was running House of Unusual as a magic shop, and I had changed the name to Nastix Industries for a time being after my shop was kind of closed and stuff. I don't know if I actually developed it in between the shop because back then in the day, you needed to have, if you were going to run ads in a magazine, you needed to have what was called an in-house advertising agency. What you did with the agencies, you would automatically get 15% off. And in order to be able to run ads like in Popular Science, you needed, an agency to run it for you. So that's where the name Nastix Industries came, because I was using that name to run the ads. And then Funhouse, House of Unusual was the magic shop and so forth. Then when Lou Weiss suggested we keep the name Fun Factory for the comic book, because Fun Factory was an established company that people would know for many, many years. That company, Fun Factory, of course, at the time, the guy who owned the company, Jack Aboff, the Fun House, which you guys will recognize where you have the $1 million in U.S. banknotes. He always had ads in all the comic books with a big money bag. He calls Lou and says, hey, guys, I had purchased the name Fun Factory when the company went belly up in the early 70s. So if you guys want the name and whatever. So I said to Lou, what do you think? And Lou said, no, absolutely not. We're not going to use. So we switched it over to House of the Unusual. And the reason it became House of the Unusual is because everybody kept saying, when you say House of Unusual, they would say House of the, and they would put the die in. So I said, you know what, let me trademark the name. And then I trademark House of the Unusual. Here, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, drew a lot of these images for me. This one here. This one here was his. This one here was his. This one here. And this one are images that he drew for me for this catalog. The center of the catalog, again, had all the classics. What I did add here is the Bill 9-foot UFO, which was sold by the Johnson Smith Company. And, I had the switchblade comb. And then in this, here is obviously a better picture where you can see my daughter there, where she's actually next to the ghost there. This is, again, my 37-year-old daughter. You can see, you can't really see it, but I have an old TV set in my room. They're black and white from the time. This must have been early 1985, I think, where I took that picture. 87 or 88, I took that because she was 2 and she was, The other thing, of course, stink bombs that were here, very popular items, the secret book safe. Lou Weiss had trademarked a character called Captain Fun. And Captain Fun was a superhero that you can see some old comics from the 1970s. When you look at some old mail order Fun Factory ad, you'll see Captain Fun. That is my character. I still haven't really introduced him to the public, but I do own the trademark on that. And that's something I will consider. This here, by the way, is when I said the more modern ad. This actually, you can fold it down and you would fold it like this and in half, and it would become a little folding catalog. that I would send to the people whenever I got orders in the mail, because I used to run a lot of ads in popular science and mechanics. When I met Chuck Guevara, one of the greatest friends I ever had, he decided, he would, being a comic book artist that he decided to actually create a comic book with me. And here it's called The House of the Unusual Gazette. And if you look closely, that's supposed to be me in the window there. It has a little mustache and stuff. It says House of the Unusual. And of course, this is, will be page 1. It's a storyline here of me. And it's the story is based on me looking for the 7-foot robot plans. And I'm going to tell a whole story how I came across finding them. But I finally, after 40 years, found them. And here is a beautiful 4-page illustrated comic book see, here's where it says, my God, man, you've done it. In other words, the plans, they're legit. This comic book was drawn based on me searching for those plans. So I'm going to put this here to the side, and I have one of the earlier items that I started selling in popular science when I was running my House of the Unusual ads and stuff. Other than the book I showed you how to, free flying saucer plans was the actual ad. I used to sell power pack, a power pack you put in back in NASA, actually created back in the day in the early 60s or late 60s. And this were the plans for the what is it here? The piston power rocket belt. Actually, that's what it was, a rocket belt. And I sold this in popular mechanics and popular science for a long time. And I thought it was kind of interesting. One particular guy, I'll never forget this. He goes to me after he got the plans. He goes, after looking, it'll cost me over $1 million to build this. I want my money back. I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, if this guy actually think you're going to build the rocket power plant out of your home without experience? I mean, you sell the item because it's obviously, they are real plans and schematics, but something like this is going to cost a lot of money to produce. This is more like a novelty and you just want to have, If you have the money and you have the power, maybe you can make it. Here, it's all here, the parts you need, everything's listed. And anyway, these are the rocket power belt that I used to sell. Now, one last thing I want to show you guys. This particular book here, it's called The Great Monster Ghost Adventure. It's, if you see here, Eddie Guevara and Chuck Caputo with the stuff. It's actually supposed to be my story, how I read comics and, I came across the famous monster ghost and I was so excited waiting for it. And, here's the invisible control line. I get my ghost in the mail. Guys, if you are interested in this particular book for your children and stuff, it's meant to be read between the ages of 5 and 10. You can look it up if you go to Amazon and look up Eddie Guevara and Chuck Caputo, you're going to see the list. I have about 12 books on Amazon right now, 5 being children's books and 4 being adult books. And I think you'll find them fun and fascinating. So again, go to Amazon and look for the Great Monster Ghost Adventure. It's something you will probably want to give your kids. Halloween, of course, is a little past right now. It's going to be obviously when this show comes out. But it's something you guys can probably get and they can have fun with you. Our friend Todd Machin has, as of a few years now, become the guy that does all the Transscience Corporation material, advertising material and stuff for their company. And this is the company that makes the sea monkeys and who invented the x-ray glasses and a lot of things, originally owned by Harold Van Brohut. Now his widow, Yolanda, runs the company. Well, anyway, Todd has designed a special 60-year, I think it's 50 or 60-year mug. And I decided to, purchase one. But to my surprise, the people over at Transscience Corporation, which actually Brian, one of the guys who's now, I think, in charge of the company, sends me an email. He says that he should call me Uncle Eddie for, I don't know the reason. I thought Todd had put him up to it, but apparently Todd tells me that he had nothing to do with whatever Brian said or did. But anyway, I had ordered the mug, but I also got to my surprise, a second package here, which I'm dying to see what it is. In fact, Todd is also dying to see what they sent me. But as you guys can see, the design on the box itself, all those stickers are designed by Todd Machin. As you know, Todd Machin is the one we call the king of the sea monkeys now. He's also part of the board of directors with the company. So anyway, we're going to unbox this first. Now, I believe this is the mug in here. So I'm going to see it, but I'm going to unbox it from the bottom because it's such a nice box with all the stickers. I want to keep this in my collection. I don't want to actually ruin the box. So we're going to do the unboxing from the bottom. Now Todd has been asking me for a couple of days now when I was going to unbox this because he wants to see what's in the other envelope. I also want to see, I'm kind of dying from this, so I was kind of holding off for the right moment and today, as soon as I finished my podcast, which went live a few minutes ago, which I hope you guys are following. I mean, like I said, we do have a podcast. We are on 7 different platforms. We are on iTunes. We are on Spotify, Anchor. I'm not sure the name of the other ones right now. But anyway, you can actually, if you go to houseoftheunusual.com, there's a link there that you can also listen to the podcast on our site. But anyway, here we go. We're going to unbox now the first box of Transscience Corporation. And I opened it through the bottom. So here's the box. Very well packaged. As I can see, it's very well packaged. Okay. Wow, look at the packaging on this. So guys, if you order from Transscience, they do a very good job packaging. And I'm sure that a lot of you people want to get a product that arrives safe, especially if it's something you're looking for. Now, look at this. Look how well packaged this product is. Not only is it super packaged in the box, but super well packaged here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right into here to get to the product, and then I'm also going to be able to repackage it to put it away. Got to be careful I don't damage the product in any way. Okay, wow. Here you go, guys. Look at this. Phenomenal piece. Ooh. Oh, wow. It comes with now this is a surprise. It comes with a sea monkey water purifier. I think it actually comes with a sea monkey kit inside. That's really not what I expected. There's 2 bags in here. Let me see. One of them is sea monkey water purifier. And the other ones, I believe, are the sea monkeys. Wow, look at this. When you purchase this 60-year cup, as we can see, guys, this design is by Mr. Todd Machin, the glorified king of sea monkeys. It's a beautiful thing he did, though, that's for sure. And it's a limited edition to only 60 mugs. So if you guys haven't gotten one, you know, you should actually go ahead and do so, because I'm not sure how many they have left. But this is a beauty. Look at that. And the shocking part of it is that it comes with a set of sea monkeys. I'm sure I'm not going to put the sea monkeys inside the cup, so I'm going to have to get a little tank for it. But here are the sea monkey, and as you can see, I dropped here the instructions. Wow. Now, I wasn't expecting... this is something also done by Todd, the layout that they use, the company uses. This is really cool, man. I like the fact that I can try to grow sea monkeys again. I haven't done so in such a long time, you know. So I'm going to put the cup back in here. Look how well this is packaged. Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. This is really nice. In fact, you see, the cup has its own kind of slit there where the handle will go. And oh my gosh. See all this, again, all this part of what Todd has designed. He's basically, Todd designs all the artwork that Transscience uses now. As of about a year ago, give or take. So anyway, here we go, Todd. We're going to open the mysterious envelope and see what special gifts. Now, again, here's Todd's stickers or designs he does for the company. And the envelope itself is really, it's addressed to me, obviously. And it's handwritten, so it's not even, so you could see that they are taking their time and they're fulfilling the orders by hand. That's a nice thing Transscience is doing, you know. And as you guys know, you can still buy Sea Monkeys. I believe it's Dragon Toys they have a contract with that distributes the Sea Monkeys for them. But Sea Monkeys are still sold in Walmart, Target. You don't specifically have to order from them, but if you want to order like special, I think they have a special deluxe edition Sea Monkey kit for the executive edition, or executive edition is like comes with a big bowl and all that. I mean, this company is phenomenal. It's been around for ages. And like I said, anybody who's ever put on a pair of X-ray glasses has to remember the Sea Monkeys, because X-ray glasses come from this company. They also produced a very rare one that's called the X-ray, not the X-ray glasses, the hypnotic glasses. And, you know, those are kind of, sometimes they come on eBay, sometimes not. But they're really nice item to, if you have or if you haven't, to add to your collection. So anyway, we're going to open carefully this envelope here. And we're going to finally see what's in it. Now I have to be careful because I want to make sure I don't, because I'm cutting it through the back. I'm not opening it through the front. Okay. They sent me, this is kind of cool. Okay. So here's the weight. There's nothing else in the package. I wonder what it was because it was kind of heavy, but as you could see, 1, 2, 3. They sent me 3 sets of X-ray glasses. Very cool, very cool. Now, the X-ray glasses, as we can see, the way they're packaged here on the blister card, are not the same original plastic version, because this, of course, were later produced. This is a cardboard version of it. This particular one here that they're sending me, it's an older version. I think this is like early 80s. Later on, they had like some of them have a smaller eye opening and stuff, and other ones have, you know, and this is nice. I want to thank Brian. If you're watching this, Brian, this is a really nice little gift here on top of the cup there, which is, I mean, phenomenal. I'm going to tell you that the X-ray glasses has always been one of my favorites way back since the day, but I'm kind of glad. I think among here, I'm going to show you people the different variations. I keep under my desk part of my rare collections here. I think I still have the X-ray glasses. Actually, I took out my X-ray glasses from here. Okay, no, I thought I had some. Oh, yeah, here. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. I just want to show how throughout the years they've packaged the X-ray glasses in different ways. Now, I have a couple of more different ones. Some were sent originally by mail order, so they didn't have the backing. Here is a version that if you actually guys can see it combined, let me get closer to the camera. You see that one of them has a bigger hole where the eye is, like, one is bigger than the other. That's because this one here actually still used the feather. So they have the smaller little hole there. And this one here had a film that created the same illusion as the feather. So it has slightly bigger openings. Now also with the smaller opening, this are like an earlier version. And this a much later. They also had, if you could see, they were packaged this way as well. So if you guys see the glasses here, you see? The different carding and all that stuff. Well, when they made the new version too, a lot of people don't realize that when you look through them, if you look at a street light, you see the word X-ray. And it actually tells you in the back here, see? Where it, right here in the second panel says, if you look a lot, you see the word X-ray. This one back here, see? It's a difference in the two layouts. This one don't tell you, but judging it's the same one, I'm assuming that this one's here also. If you look at a light, you should see the word X-ray. Not sure. I'm going to have to, open it up to make sure. But I think they do because they use the same thing. And then this one here that have the smaller. Now, the reason this comes in this poly bag is because this is the ones that they would send out when you order through the mail. You wouldn't. This would be what you find in a store. And these are the ones. Now, of course, you guys know that there's also the plastic versions, which are the really early versions, which, I don't have one here. But then out of China, of course, everything's copied. They made the X-ray gogs, which the X-ray glasses, they use the same frame as the X-ray glasses. The only thing, the X-ray gogs, the frame is a little cheaper if you open them up. But anyway, here you have the X-ray gogs made in China and the X-ray glasses made by Transscience. I have another 3 different versions of the X-ray glasses. I don't have them in here right now because I was planning to do a whole special episode on the history of the X-ray specs. We grew up with them. We love them. There's very few people that you ask, especially males, around the age of 50, 55, hey, do you ever heard of the X-ray glasses? Everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, I remember those. And you can't, the guy who did the design for the X-ray glasses, the artist was Henry Lamoth. And he was a famous Guinness Book World Record holder. And, he also did the famous drawings. And you can see here where the guy's tongue is coming out. And you got the lady here, he's looking through her clothes. So, as a young kid back in the 1970s, any young boy saw this and they thought the glasses actually work. So they became a super popular item that to this day, they're still being sold, which is amazing. I think the first versions of the X-ray glasses were probably 1967, between 66, 67, or even earlier than that. But anyway, I want to thank you guys again for listening. I also want to bring up to date that as of this week, I've been working on now our podcast, the House of the Unusual .radio, is hosted on Anchor. That's the main host that, that's where I actually record each week on Anchor. But what I'm doing is Anchor itself allows people now to build a website on Anchor itself, which Anchor hosts. It's built with WordPress. And I've been working on building a site just for the podcast. So it's much easier for you guys to find it. And it will also be much easier to advertise and get customers to it. Or listeners, I'm sorry, not customers, listeners to the podcast. But having said that, I want to say thank you and have a wonderful day. Till next time.